Hello and welcome to Black Crow Gaming, and this is another episode of the Adeptus Custodes Tactica. And this week, considering last week I did the Imperial Agents tier review, this week I would have a look at something that I was pretty keen on during the tier review, and that was comparing the Sisters of Silence with the Sisters of Battle. Now I'm saying we should be souping the Sisters of Battle into our list because I think it's a great option. But a lot of people out there would be like, well, why? I need to kind of make this a little bit more obvious. I need to kind of show people what's going on. And I'm going to show you today with a little PowerPoint presentation of kind of why I've done it. I'm just bringing some information together. But before we do all of that, I need to do me a big favor. If you like my content, please hit those magical YouTube buttons if you like, and you subscribe and you hit the bell notification. You don't miss any of our content on Black Crow Gaming. We have loads, and it also helps us out loads. We're a growing channel with a growing community, and we just want you all to be a part of it. So thank you massively for being involved in that. Also, we have some great sponsors. We are sponsored by Glasshammer Gaming, who is an online store as well as a store presence, and they offer us 5% discount additional in the already discount that they already do on all of their miniatures and their products that they sell. So all you have to do is put in Black Crow in the coupon code and you get an additional 5% discount, which is pretty tasty when you're looking at a 15 to 20% already. It takes it up to that 20-25 bracket, so a little bit cheaper on your toys, peeps. And that does work on their store, and it works on their event tickets as well. And they've obviously been recently doing grand tournaments, super majors, lots going on. Our other sponsor is Terrain Forge. They've been with us from the beginning and they're pretty close to our heart. They also offer a 5% discount on all their wonderful terrain, which you see advertised on all of our battle reports. And they give, if you put in BCG on their website, you get an additional 5% off of all of their products. They are the official makers of WTC terrain in the UK for WTC, and they do a fantastic job of it too. Anyway, let's get to it. So I said today that we were going to be looking at some comparisons between the Sisters of Silence and the Sisters of Battle. So let's get started. So the Sisters of Silence, they're an interesting unit, right? So with Adeptus Custodes, you've got prosecutors, you've got witch seekers, and you've got vigilators, and we've also got a couple characters that we can throw in. But I haven't included those because I didn't think that was necessarily relevant at this moment in time. So, what are your options in Sisters of Silence? So you've got prosecutors, and they come with a bolt gun, a close combat weapon. They've got this cool rule called the Daughters of Abyss, which gives you feel no pain, 3+ against psychic and mortals. That's pretty good. That's okay. And then the other rule for prosecutors is that they've got the purity of execution. Their range shooting has dev and precision on psychic units. That would be really cool if it wasn't just a bolt gun shooting at them. So one of my biggest gripes with Sisters of Silence is that you either have a unit which only has bolt guns in, you either have a unit which only has flamers in, and you have a unit with only swords. There's no variety. You can't mix and match. You can't do anything different. But for 4 sisters at 40 points, they're a cheap action monkey unit, and don't expect them to really do a great deal in the way of hurting and shooting and so on, but they are 2 OC and they will hold an objective for you. The other unit we have that I've got on this page is we've got some Witch Seekers. Now, Witch Seekers, they're pretty cool. They've got the Witch Seeker Flamer, which is a D6 Flamer, strength 4, 1 damage, ignoring cover. They've also got a close combat weapon, and they've got Scout 6, and they've got the Daughters of Abyss rule, which we talked about earlier, and they've got this other rule called Sanctified Flames. When a unit is shot, they must take a battle shock test, basically, which could be good if that unit is about to charge onto your objective and potentially steal it. That might not necessarily happen, because if you can make them 0 OC, they're then not, they're not going to be able to get that back, which is, useful. That's useful. And the Scout 6 is nice. It means that you can get them up the board quite quickly onto the objectives to do actions and so on. The other unit we've got is the Vigilators. Now, the Vigilators, they've got this this Executioner Great Blade, which is a Strength 6, AP 2, 2 damage weapon. And that has Dev as well. That could be quite tasty. They get 2 attacks each. They're hitting on 3s. They're wounding most things on 3s. That's pretty good. And if you couple these units with other characters, they do get a bit better. This unit is probably our most killy unit. That's the unit that's going to do some work. And you could put them in a Rhino and throw them up the board and they could probably do quite well. But the reason you take Sisters of Silence is because you need them to score you points. You want them to hold objectives. You want them to do your actions. So actually, that whole point of them being there to kind of do stuff for you, like you don't want a killer unit. You want a unit that's just going to hold the objective for you. And they've got their rules. They've got the Daughter of Abyss. They've got the Death Parry as well. Death Parry is melee attacks against this unit is -1 to hit, which is quite nice because in Shield Host we have to pay 1 CP for our Custodes to get that. And if you remember, that used to be one of our martial katars. So it's quite sad that we lost that. There was a lot of things taken away in this codex, but the Imperial Agent book has come out and it's given us some other options. Some delicious soupy options. And I'm very keen on this, and I want to show you why, people. I want to show the community why this is good, because genuinely this is something that you could quite easily overlook. You might not think it's that big a deal, but I'm going to explain to you why it's so good. So the Adeptus SORORITAS, you can take 2 units out of that Imperial Agents. You can take Sisters of Battle Squad, and you can take an Emulator, which is like their car. Boom, boom. I love the fact as well, by the way, guys, that every single picture I've done for this presentation has my head basically over the top of it. So I look, well, let's go this side, let's go this side. Look at that. I look like an amazing Sister of Battle right there. And I've got to say, the corset armor suits me to a T. Anyway, I digress. So your Adeptus Sororitas, you've got the Sisters of Battle Squad, and you can take a unit of 10 for 115 points. So yes, it's quite a lot of points. But they come with like a host of different options. They've got multiple weapon options, including melter guns, multi-melters, inferno pistols. Yes, that's a lot of melter. And they can have flamers, and they can take heavy bolters, which I didn't write on the list, but that is also there. The Sister Superior can take a chainsword or a power weapon. And then they've got these cool rules, one of which is big. They've got Defenders of Faith. That gives you sticky objective. What does that sticky objective mean if you don't know the rules? Basically, you put a unit on that unit. If you walk off of, you put a unit on top of that objective. If you walk off that objective then becomes yours and stays yours. And you don't have to keep a unit on there, which means you can push off and go do other wonderful things like actions and score points, because points equal prizes, people. So that is big. That is a massive buff, because actually in Shield Host, you have to spend 1 CP to get that. In any other detachment, in the Adeptus Custodes, they just don't have it. So you have to commit to keep a unit, keep a unit there. That in itself can be a bit of a burden when you've got expensive units that don't want to be tied down to a space. These sisters can put a little bit of their magic faith on these objectives for you, keeping them under your righteous control. And I really like that, and that's really useful. They've got this other way of working as well. They have the Incenser Cherub. That gives them a once per battle 0 CP command reroll. That's pretty nice. You can do just a command reroll. If you've got a lot of melters, that's pretty tasty. They can then carry a flag, basically, like a big old pole, and it's called the Simulacrum Imperialis. And that gives you +1 to your leadership. Now, I've probably butchered that name, and any Adeptus Sororitas players out there who are really into it, I'm very sorry, but deal with it. They also come with a 6-up invulnerable save, which our Sisters of Silence just flat don't have. And it means that, at least they get a save, folks. Like, they get a save against anything. pretty much, apart from obviously dev. But how much dev is actually in the game unless you're playing dev specialists like Thousand Suns? And how many of those armies are there? There's 20-something odd armies in Warhammer 40k. And, you know, Thousand Suns, yes, you may see them at a tournament, but it doesn't mean necessarily you're going to pair into them. This unit also has the grenades keyword, another thing our Sisters of Silence don't have. So, all in all, a Sisters of Battle Squad, yes, it's 115 points. Yes, you have to take 10 of them. But if you take 2 units of Vigilators or 2 units of Witch Seekers, 4 models are 50 points. 10 of them at 110 points. So for 5 points more, you get all of that extra utility. Now, Aaron, you're probably saying, Aaron, but it's 1 unit of 10. Like, that's just 1 unit. I want like multiple MSU squads to go off and use actions. Well, you know what, guys? I've got you covered. You see, the emulator, what that does is that it essentially splits the unit of Sisters into 2 equal halves. So you've got 5 get in the car and go for a little drive, and the other 5 stay on the objective. And that has to happen when you deploy that unit, because the emulator only has a capacity of 6. So basically, you pay 115 points, you get 2 units of Sisters of Battle Squad. You've got 1 unit which you just have as your bolters, really, to stay and go off and sticky stuff for you. You know, go do that. Whereas the emulator takes your melter squad, your payload, and it takes it somewhere else and potentially could do some nasty bit of damage. This emulator, you know, it also comes with a 6+ invulnerable save. It's a pretty tough vehicle to kill as well. It's got multiple wounds, a decent save. It's got the smoke keywords as well, so you can do the smoke ability. It's got heavy bolters. It's got multi-melter potentially, or you can take the emulation flamer, and it comes with a hunter-killer missile. And then a little added spice, people, to what you may enjoy is the Purge and Cleanse. It strips cover of what it shoots. Now, we have a unit in Adeptus Custodes that does this for us already, and that is the Sagittarium Guard. But no one uses them. It's 215 points for 5 Sagittarium Guard to shoot a unit, and it does nothing. Just nothing. What's really sad, actually, is that that whole sentence was incorrect. We don't even have that stripping the cover like that. You have to pay 5 points to ignore cover in Shield Host. Sagittarium Guard don't have that. Sorry, I made a boo-boo, people. They produce -1 to hit because they essentially do cover fire. So the unit are just at -1 to hit. That's fine, but the tank stripping cover off of a unit, what it shoots something with its heavy bolter. You go, okay, cool, thank you. Your Caladius tanks then shoot it. Your Terminators then shoot it. All of that AP all of a sudden matters. And when you've got going into stuff with a 2-up save, you want your AP3 getting through. Promise you, you do. You'd much rather them saving on a 5-up than a 4+. Just saying that. That's just the way it is. Now, I've got some final thoughts, and I thought I'd just share it with you just whilst we wrap up this video. It's a bit of a short video this week, folks. I'm sorry, but I thought this was important to get out there. And next week is going to be all about my talk about the LG coming to the LGT, because that's going to be a big tournament, and I'm going to it, and I hope to see many of you there. So my final thoughts are, you know, Sisters of Silence. Overall, these have always been weak data sheets, and however, there are combos available in Talons of the Emperor and Null Maiden. They're primarily used for this utility scoring points. Vigilators can pack a punch, but it's difficult to get them there. You need to put them in a Rhino, and then all of a sudden those points costs really whack up. And if you really want max effectiveness from them, you have to attach a character. So, you know, I said earlier that like that 230 points is quite a lot for our Sisters of Battle. Actually, you think to make some Sisters of Silence work, you have to pay a bit more. And yes, although it does cost 230 points from the Adeptus Sororitas, they offer a lot of utility. They hit harder than Sisters of Silence, they provide sticky, and they strip cover. This saves us on CP cost, makes our units more deadly, and it gives us 3 units to go do actions. I really like them. I think Adeptus Custodes are in a really bad place. If you keep up with the Meta Watch and the Meta Monday, in the last Meta Monday, we were sitting at roughly around the 42 to 45 percentile. I mean, we're dropping off quick, and that is because of the prevalence of strong combat armies that are just better in combat than we are now. Like the thing we used to be the best at is kind of gone. But I'm not saying you shouldn't take them. I love Adeptus Custodes. I'm going to continue to run Adeptus Custodes. They still whack one hell of a punch in combat. But Games Workshop, in their wisdom, will continue to make changes and tweaks, and because Adeptus Custodes will obviously adapt to that. I think in the future, like you're gonna see a lot of armies with soups. I think at the LGT, you're gonna see if there is custodian players like myself, you're gonna see us with soups, and I think this is probably going to be the one we go for. I know some people have sat there and they've considered Death Watch units, they've considered Grey Knights, they've considered a variety of things, but you can still take these sisters and take assassins, which is pretty big. Look, I'm going to wrap up here, folks, but I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a quick video this week, but it's just a comparison between the two units, and I kind of had to get this one out really quickly this week because I didn't have a lot of time today. Busy boy, I'm a busy man, but I hope you've enjoyed my content. I just want to also do a big shout out to two of my really close friends, and that's Toby and Sam. They're both doing amazing content, faction focused stuff as well. You've got the Dark Angels content, which is, there's a lot of Dark Angel players out there. And then you've got Sam, who recently did an amazing video on the science behind the combat phase. So if you're looking to get into these types of armies and you want to learn about the combat phase, I'd 100% suggest go watch that video, because he knows what he's doing. I think he's the #1 World Eaters player in the UK at the minute. He just won a GT this weekend with them. He's absolutely smashing it. He's going into LGT hot, and I can't wait to see him there. And then if you also want to go check out our battle reports, again, some of my really close friends, and that's just the life of Black Crow Gaming. They're also doing some amazing battle reports. We just had World Eaters versus Space Wolf. So if you want to go see that Space Wolf jail and how the World Eaters deal with it, that is a battle report you should go and see. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been Aaron. Catch you guys next week. See you later. And I'm going to wait for a second while I get to the end screen, mate. Bye!